In the pulsating core of Bangalore, where the city lights never seemed to dim and the air buzzed with life, Neha had spent weeks orchestrating an evening she believed would be etched in memory forever. It was her husband Ritesh's 35th birthday, a significant milestone, and she was determined to make it nothing short of extraordinary. Known among her friends and family for her eye for detail and a deep love that often spoke louder through actions than words, Neha had poured her heart into this celebration. She had booked an opulent suite at one of Bangalore's most luxurious hotels, a place where elegance met comfort and every corner whispered sophistication. From the moment she stepped into the space, Neha transformed it into something magical, something deeply personal. Vibrant helium balloons floated effortlessly in the air, their colors catching and dancing with the soft glow from dozens of candles she had arranged with deliberate care. Each candle flickered like a little beacon of hope and love, their light reflecting on the marble surfaces and golden accents of the room. Trails of fresh rose petals graced the plush cream carpet, creating a path that led to a round table dressed in fine linen, set for two. At its center, a bottle of premium champagne sat chilling in a silver bucket, droplets of cold water collecting at its base. Next to it, a rich chocolate cake with smooth, glossy icing waited patiently. The words "Happy Birthday Ritesh" were scripted across the surface in delicate swirls of cream-colored frosting, every curve shaped with precision by the bakery she had specifically chosen after weeks of searching. All afternoon, Neha had been fine-tuning every part of the evening. Her outfit had been picked out days in advance, a deep sapphire blue gown that hugged her figure with grace. The shade enhanced the golden undertones of her skin, and her dark hair, styled into loose waves, cascaded elegantly over one shoulder. Her makeup was subtle but refined, the kind that gave her a soft glow under the candlelight. As she looked in the mirror, she saw hope reflected back at her. Hope for a beautiful night, for laughter, for memories made together. As twilight settled over the city and the sky outside the suite window darkened to a velvet blue, Neha waited. Every few minutes her eyes flicked to the wall clock. The hands moved steadily, 8 p.m. then 8:30. Still, no message from Ritesh. She told herself that traffic could be bad, or perhaps he was stuck at work. He had always been busy, and though it stung a little that he hadn't messaged to say he'd be late, she clung to the idea that he would walk in any minute, his face lighting up in awe at her efforts. She imagined his reaction, the widened eyes, the appreciative smile, the warmth of his embrace as they toasted to his special day. But as the hands of the clock inched closer to 10 p.m., her anticipation began to wane, replaced by a growing sense of unease. She sat at the edge of the bed, smoothing the folds of her dress, her fingers anxiously twisting the napkin on her lap. And then at 9:47 p.m., she heard the familiar click of the door unlocking. Her heart jumped. She stood immediately, brushing invisible creases from her dress, a bright smile forming on her lips as she turned toward the entrance. Relief flooded her, ready to meet her husband with open arms. But what she saw stopped her breath. Ritesh stepped into the suite, but he wasn't alone. His arm was draped casually, intimately, around the waist of another woman. A stranger. Neha's eyes dropped to their entwined hands, to the way his lips grazed the woman's neck with unthinking familiarity. It wasn't just the presence of another. It was the casualness, the comfort in the gesture, the unmistakable intimacy that tore through her. The air in the room, once fragrant with roses and warmth, felt suddenly heavy and cold. The candles flickered like they too were startled. The balloons swayed gently above, eerily silent, like they were watching a tragedy unfold. Time stood still for a moment. The woman froze mid-step. Ritesh's eyes met Neha's and widened in horror. The blood drained from his face, and his mouth opened as if to speak, but nothing came out. Neha didn't scream. She didn't cry. She didn't collapse like women do in dramatic television scenes. Instead, her spine straightened. She felt the sting of betrayal cut into her heart like a cold blade, but she held her ground. Her silence was louder than anything she could have said. Her dignity became her defense. She stepped forward slowly, her heels tapping softly against the floor, her movements precise. As she neared the table, she reached out and gently adjusted the position of the cake, just slightly, as though she couldn't bear to leave anything imperfect even now. The absurdity of the gesture made her ache inside, but she didn't let it show. Then she turned back, her gaze piercing into Ritesh's. He looked utterly shattered, guilt written across his face like graffiti on a wall that once symbolized love. Her voice was steady, calm, even gentle, too gentle. "It seems," she said, her eyes not wavering, "I wasn't the only one who had a surprise plan tonight." The sentence hung in the air, sharp as glass. No one moved. No one dared speak. And then Neha turned and walked past them, not glancing back, her presence leaving the room colder in her absence. The soft thud of the door closing behind her felt final. Outside, the Bangalore night unfolded in all its chaotic beauty. Honking horns, distant music, glowing street lamps. Life continued, utterly indifferent to the heartbreak of one woman in a hotel suite. Her phone buzzed relentlessly in her bag. Calls and messages from Ritesh flooding in within minutes. Desperate apologies, explanations, pleas to talk. She didn't open a single one. What was there left to explain? By the time the first rays of dawn touched the city, painting the skyline with hues of orange and gold, Neha had already made her decision. She returned to the apartment they once shared, methodically packing her things. She didn't waste time dwelling on the memories woven into the space. Her movements were efficient, calm. She fit her life into a few suitcases, walked out without looking back, and didn't cry. Her tears wouldn't change what had happened. Her silence would speak louder than pain. And as she stepped into the rising sun, suitcase in hand, she felt something shift within her. A chapter had ended, not with screams or accusations, but with quiet resolve. She didn't know exactly what came next, but she knew one thing with certainty. She was choosing herself.